Jason Voorhees has had an insane facial evolution throughout the entire Friday the 13th movie franchise. Here's his entire unmasked face evolution explained. The first time we see his face is at the end of the original Friday the 13th movie when a deformed little boy Jason jumps out of the lake to scare Alice. He has an overly sized head, buck teeth, and a slight droopy eye. The next time we see Jason is when he's lunging through a window and grabs Ginny in Friday the 13th Part 2. Jason's head and face looks lumpy with patchy long red hair and beard on one side of his head, and his eye has gotten more droopy. In Friday the 13th Part 3, Jason looks completely different this time. It appears he shaved his head and beard. Also, his teeth looks like they're in desperate need for a brushing. His eye is significantly more droopy this time. Also, there was another Jason face that doesn't appear in this movie. It was an alternate ending. Jason's face looks more like a pig and more disheveled because it was an old reused head mold. The director didn't like Jason's face in this version, so they chose this one instead. I think they made the right choice since the one they chose looks more scarier as Jason is sprinting towards Chris at the end. In the fourth movie, Jason looks even more deformed. His face is more reminiscent of the first appearance in the first movie, mainly due to them modeling it after the original look. The practical team tried to make him look more similar to the first movie and how he would have realistically evolved. I think they did an incredible job. This is my favorite unmasked version of Jason. He looks pretty realistic and also more terrifying than the previous versions. His next face reveal was in Friday the 13th Part 6. Don't ask about Part 5, we don't talk about Part 5. His face in Part 6 looks great. I love how he looks like a menacing zombie. We only see his face in the beginning of the movie for a short scene, but in the next movie we see his face evolve drastically after being underwater for such a long period of time. His face is shown to be rotting away along with his teeth, and it appears he only has one eye. It seems the droopy eye fell off or something. Also, his nose seems to be the part of his face that has almost completely rotted off. This is my second favorite version of Jason's face. It looks so awesome. They really put in the work to make every detail matter. I can't say the same for the next Jason because in his face in this movie is probably the worst and goofiest face he has ever had and will probably ever have. He looks like an apple that has been left in the sun for days. He doesn't look scary or menacing at all. It really takes you out of the movie and turns it into a comedy instead of a horror movie. In Jason Goes to Hell, we don't fully get to see Jason's face. We mainly just see his overly sized head as his mask is embedded to his face with strands of hair growing out of his head. Apparently, this version was inspired by the Elephant Man. It's a pretty cool design, but we don't get to see much of this Jason because of the body teleportation he does throughout the whole stupid movie. Jason's face in Freddy vs. Jason looks more rugged and gives him an old man look. Jason still has a few strands of hair growing out of his head like the previous movie. He kinda looks like one of the deformed guys from the Hills Have Eyes reboot. Now, the final time we see Jason's face in this universe comes in the movie Jason X. We get a brief look at his face and he does look a little similar to the previous version. Not too much has changed, but that's the last time we see his face even when he gets a physical upgrade, which makes him look awesome. I like how his mask wraps around his huge head. He just looks more menacing. I want a sequel to this movie just so I can see more of this badass looking Jason. So this was a whole evolution of Jason Voorhees' unmasked face from the 1980s to 2455. Which version is your favorite and least favorite? I got a big Jason video coming soon. You're gonna love it.